MAGA is eating itself alive over Jeffrey Epstein. So is Donald Trump himself for dessert. Joining us now, former Republican congressman and author of The Breach, The Untold Story of the Investigation into January 6th, Denver Riggleman, managing editor of The Bulwark and MSNBC contributor Sam Stein, and senior reporter for The Bulwark and author of Trust the Plan, The Rise of QAnon and the Conspiracy That Reshaped the World, Will Sommer. Will, this fever swamp is the one that you dwell in most, so I'm going to stick with you on this. Why is the Epstein files saga, why is it so sticky? Why can't Donald Trump just push his way out of it?
I mean, I think it's very evocative. I think unlike maybe other moments where he's disappointed the base, like, let's say, going to war with Iran, it's something that really sticks with people. I mean, it's about a pedophile network, at least in the real world, there is some amount of truth to that. And then they've taken that and run with it and made it far crazier. And as a result, more emotionally touching to them. And so people expected to get, justice as they saw it. I mean, they thought a lot of Democrats were going to go to prison. They thought this was going to be this huge moment for them. And then for Trump to then turn everything around and say, no, we're not doing that at all. And actually, you're a weakling if you believed any of that. I mean, it's upsetting.
It's upsetting, but how upsetting is it going to be, Will? I mean, when we look at Alex Jones saying that Donald Trump might be complicit, when we see Nick Fuentes, I mean, these are obviously not upstanding figures in American life. But we see Nick Fuentes going after Donald Trump in the way that he did, or you see Megyn Kelly try to couch it by saying, I'm still a Trump supporter, but I don't trust them. How long does this survive? How much damage is it going to do to the MAGA base? And does that damage that extend to Donald Trump?
I think it's a big deal. I mean, I think we're seeing, as you said, people on the fringe like Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, but even people who are pretty close to the White House, like the people who got those Epstein binders a few months ago that turned out to be such a debacle. Even they realize like they're kind of stuck between Trump and the audience, and they're starting to attack Trump over it too. And so when you see those people who are saying that, I mean, I think they can see which way the wind is blowing, and the base is really upset about this. I mean, I was watching one podcaster who said, I mean, this is like the worst Trump has been with the base in 10 years. I mean, people are mad about it.
Denver, is this the dog that caught the car?
Yeah, well, this is crazy eating its own tail, and we saw this in January 6th. By the way, that was the best beginning of any show I've ever seen. I was laughing at the whole thing. So here's the thing, right? When you lose the nutters, the conspiracy theorists, and the neo-Nazis, you're losing a huge base of the MAGA voting party. This is about spiritual warfare. And when you're talking about the Epstein files, it's been this rationalization of how do we get over the pictures of Donald Trump with this? How do we get over that he's been, adjudicated for sexual abuse? How do we get over all the things he's been accused of? Well, we've had Republicans, GOP, and MAGA telling us for years that the truth was going to come out. And Trump runs on this exposing the deep state and the globalists. It's this conspiracy theory baseline. And that's really how policy is made in this administration. It's about conspiracy theories. And, obviously, Will's an expert on QAnon. I've had the good fortune of looking at the QAnoners that were going on January 6th and what they believed in when they attacked the Capitol. And I had the pleasure of being attacked by QAnon after I officiated a same-sex wedding. So I think what you're seeing right now, when you see Nick Fuentes and you see Alex Jones, you see Ben Shapiro, you see Megyn Kelly, this is actually real. I have never seen, I think Will's right too, I haven't seen in my time where there's something that the Democrats, independents, right, and I would say the moderate right can run on than this issue right here. It should be brought up every single day because if these are not released, this is the biggest deal for Trump because he can't protect what he's been accused of, and it destroys the conspiracy theory base going forward.
Let me just read a few things here, so bear with me. I was reminded of this today. Donald Trump spoke to New York Magazine in 2002 for a Jeffrey Epstein profile. And here's what he said. I'm going to read it because it's important. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. So Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein go back enough and we're close enough to where a New York Magazine writer would call Donald Trump to get a quote on him, and that's what he said. Mick Mulvaney, Donald Trump's ex-chief of staff, was speaking to Al Jazeera and said this to Al Jazeera recently. He's in the files. A lot of people are in the files. But if anything damning was in the files about Trump, the Biden administration would have released them. Fine, fair point. And then you have the New York Times writing this about the MAGA supporters. This is by Sean McCreish. Natalie Winters, the War Room correspondent and 24-year-old protege of Stephen K. Bannon, told the New York Times that Epstein goes to the very foundation of MAGA and added, quote, "I just think it's frankly very grifty to have spent your entire career promoting, even if it weren't the Epstein thing directly, but the idea that there is this deep state, the idea that there is this unelected class of, bankers, corporations, countries, intel agencies, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, you have the power to expose it. And either you're not because there's nothing there, in which case it makes you a liar, and I don't believe that, or you're ineffective, or you're compromised." What I'm surprised by, Sam, is, and this is why I asked, is Donald Trump for dessert? If there's any there surrounding Jeffrey Epstein and powerful people, I mean, Donald Trump has got to be at the top of that list. We have so many pictures of him with Jeffrey Epstein. There's so much history between the two of them. You have that quote of Donald Trump saying Jeffrey Epstein likes them on the younger side. If the conspiracy is that the powerful people are protecting Jeffrey Epstein or hiding the files because they don't want to be implicated, how has Donald Trump himself been able to escape scrutiny? And is it coming back to him now? Is he finally going to be scrutinized by his own base?
All right. Well, at the risk of undermining myself, let me just preface this by saying I've learned all I'm about to say from Will Sommer and from the work that he's done for The Bulwark. Not saying you should direct the question to Will, but my guess is that if Will were to answer this question, he'd say part of the issue here is that Trump has stoked these conspiracies forever, but also that he plays a central role in the conspiracy. Forever, for years, the QAnon base has basically assumed that Trump would be the one who exposed this great cabal of deep state pedophiliacs, and that Trump was pictured with Epstein and knew Epstein not because they were friends necessarily, but because he was put there for some larger purpose to unravel that deep state, to unravel that great cabal. What's disconcerting to them now, I suppose, is not that Trump is exposed as being connected to Epstein. We all saw those pictures a long time ago. We've read that quote from New York Magazine in 2002. We saw the weird photo, as we're seeing now, the video of them dancing and, biting their upper lips in an awkward way. It's that Trump won't follow through on the idea of transparency. And he's acting in this incredibly erratic way when asked about this stuff that, frankly, and I think objectively, raises the question, is he hiding something? If he wants to, because all of this is supposed to culminate in some great moment of transparency, Trump now stands in the way of that. And so this is no longer necessarily a political problem for him. In a way, it's kind of a spiritual problem. I mean, this is an article of faith for MAGA. It's an article of faith for QAnon. And that is being supremely tested by Donald Trump right now. And that's why I think the congressman and Will and myself all conclude that this is a uniquely treacherous moment for him politically.
Do the supporters start to question whether they were misled by Donald Trump and his supporters, that maybe they were lied to? You saw Nick Fuentes say that this was all a big scam. You hear it from Natalie Winters, although she says she doesn't believe it. Is the end of this that they look at the Trump administration, the people that he put in charge, as a bunch of opportunists who were using them to get into power, who were willing to feed them anything to get back into office, Will? Or Sam?
Yeah.
No, I was going to direct that to Will because he's got a great piece on this about the
I'm going to have the control room just take both Denver and Will and just squish it together, and then we'll just say, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Will, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we're starting to see some evidence of that. I mean, in the case of QAnon conspiracy theories, often it's something that people know really in their heart, and they realize, oh my gosh, that's false. What else is wrong? And then they kind of come out of QAnon. In this case, I mean, we're seeing right-wing commentators and just sort of average people on the street who are posting on the internet saying, wait a minute, like, this is insulting to my intelligence that Trump is just telling me, get over it, a few months after J.D. Vance was talking about Epstein. Suddenly, now that's for idiots. And people are starting to get kind of upset about it. And this idea that, like, it's an insult to my intelligence, they must think I'm an idiot. I think that has the potential to really get people to turn on Trump more broadly.
What about the idea that they just keep believing it, Denver? Donald Trump says there's no there there, and there is no there there. But they say, you know what, I don't believe you, that there's no end to this. There's no Like, what would a resolution look like to people who believe this conspiracy theory?
There is none. There's no resolution if he doesn't release it. And here's why. So I had people come up and scream at me like, E. Jean Carroll was lying. You know, wait till you see the Epstein files. You got to remember, I own whiskey distilleries, right? I'm all over the country. And, Will is a QAnon expert. My unique expertise is being attacked by QAnon and have to go against them. So it's pretty cool, right? I think that all of us are on this show right now. But the issue that you have is when somebody comes in now and if they have no way to defend Donald Trump from all his accusations and from his adjudicated case, if he doesn't release the Epstein list or Epstein files, it's completely transparent. Spiritual warfare, the fact this is a spiritual tenet, which you've heard on here, the fact that this is an article of faith, this is the cascading effect of conspiracy theories that undermines the very administration that ran on conspiracy theories. And there comes a point when crazy can't be rationalized out because it's those very conspiracy theories that are driving the administration. And I'm telling you, there are people who are virulent Trump supporters, virulent. And, I ran as a Republican, Katie, right? They'll come to me like, I can't believe it. Maybe they were they lying? Denver, you know a lot. What's going on? I'm like, hey, maybe if they don't release the list or the files, maybe there's something there. Maybe he was lying about E. Jean Carroll. And
but
then
even
all
if they
sudden,
did release the files, would that be sufficient? I mean, if they released all the files, what would need to be in them in order to put this to rest?
They're going to redact a lot of the files. So as soon as you have redactions, and I think we'll say if we're going to laugh at this, as soon as you see redactions, they're going to say, what's behind the black line? Oh, my God, it's a cover up from the deep state. Again, there's no way out if people actually can approach us in a way where they understand how these conspiracy theories work.
Which is